Hey, welcome back everybody. This is Robert Perko here with your episode of First Time Feast. This is going to be the season finale, and it's kind of brings a tear to my eye that we're going to be done for the first season, but also things to look forward to for next season. So we got a really good one to finish you off, guys. This is something different. If you're looking for a change up in your dinner, this is the way to go. So kind of a unique one. I mean, I know you've heard of a po' boy, right? A simple po' man sandwich. You can do roast beef, you can do shrimp, you can do crab, you can do chicken, you name it, right? We're gonna do a little bit of a twist. We're gonna kind of do like a pop-up fusion sandwich here. So we're gonna do a coconut crusted shrimp po' boy with a creamy raspberry gastrique coleslaw on a toasted ciabatta bun, okay? I know that sounds like a mouthful, and it's gonna be a mouthful, and you're gonna be really, really, really enjoying this thing. So kind of a lot of ingredients, but it's pretty simple and it's really easy to follow. So let's kick it off and let's get this thing started, okay? So the first thing that we're gonna wanna do, we're gonna wanna make our coleslaw, okay? So go to the store, get yourself some nice pre-ground stuff, or you can go get some cabbage and chop it up, make it at home. I'm all about that simple lifestyle. You know all about that. So we're gonna hit this with our cabbage, but the first thing that we do, even before that, we wanna get our gastrique going. So when you hear that word gastrique, you're like, man, this guy's talking all crazy. So gastrique is really just another word for like a sweet and sour sauce. They can have a little bit of a vinegary tang to them. I love them. I make them out of all sorts of fruits that I have around the house. You can do them with blueberries or with raspberries, with strawberries, pineapple. I mean, really, you name it. We're gonna cheat a little bit today. We're gonna use some raspberry jam. It has a really high sugar content, and it makes the process a lot easier. So we're gonna show you how to make a simple gastrique. That alone is its own sauce. If you wanted to put that sauce and use it as a shrimp dip by itself, you would love it. But we're gonna incorporate that into a creamy coleslaw and make this sandwich kick it up another level, okay? So we're gonna get this thing started. So first thing that we're gonna wanna do, we're gonna wanna take a clove of garlic here, and we're gonna wanna break this down. We can even go with 2 cloves of garlic. Let's fill a little bit of extra. So let's take our cloves of garlic. We're gonna give them pop, pop, give them another pop, pop. That one kind of master exploded all over the place, but we're gonna chop it up and use it all the less. So we'll get this thing broken down. We'll do our other one here. Get this thing broken down. Take this junk, kick it to the curb. We don't need that over here no more. And then we're gonna start working on these garlic. So, all right, guys, we're just gonna go for kind of a fine chop. Okay, we got that one already. We're gonna go for kind of a fine chop. Okay, so we got garlic that's gonna go right into the pan. We're gonna turn our pan on. We're gonna go with medium, low. Garlic has a tendency of burning. We all know this. We're gonna give it a little bit of help with some butter. We're gonna go about 2 teaspoons of butter here. It's already really hot. It's hot in the studio. We're gonna pop that in there. We're gonna let that break down. So that's all we're gonna use for the butter. We're gonna let that kind of melt and incorporate in the skillet. You're gonna start seeing that butter and that garlic cook and render, and it's just gonna be really, really, really tasty. So we're gonna let that start here. Simple ingredients that we're gonna be using today, guys, for this. We got our garlic powder, we got our turmeric, we got some cornstarch, we got some Japanese panko coconut crumbs. These are exciting. I've never used these before, but we're gonna try these out. I think it's gonna bring a nice little twist to this dish, okay? Got some heavy cream, we got an egg, simple ciabatta. You can use any roll that you wanna use. And then we got some lemon zest and a whole boatload of stuff over here. So we're gonna work all this together and I'll walk you through the whole process. So garlic is starting to cook, butter is starting to cook. So this butter is gonna add a lot of fat to this, and it's really gonna help this gastrique kind of form. Typically in a gastrique, you won't use butter, but since we're gonna be putting this into a coleslaw, we can go ahead and we can use it. So now that that's going, we're gonna pop the top on our raspberry jam, and we're gonna give a nice healthy spoonful, okay? We're gonna add that in there. And we're gonna start letting that jam incorporate into that butter. It's gonna start breaking down. We're gonna turn our heat down just a little bit more. It's gonna start breaking down. It's gonna liquefy. It's gonna be really, really nice. There is a really high sugar content in that, like I said before. So between that butter, that garlic, and that high sugar content, this is something that can burn very, very quickly. So you want the lowest heat possible. These stoves are kind of tricky. They have a little shutoff like they just did. So as low as you can go before it turns off. And start stirring this thing because it will burn on you. So now it's starting to liquefy just right. Now what we're going to do to really technically make this a gastrique, we're going to hit this with the rice vinegar. We're almost out of this bottle, so that's perfect. We're going to literally finish this off. This is going to be right at a ½ teaspoon, okay? We're going to toss that, incorporate it. We're going to add a little bit there, stir that around. It's really caramelizing that garlic. It's starting to break down. We're going to hit this now with some red wine vinegar, okay? Smell that red wine vinegar. It just gives it kind of that punch. It gives it that little bit of a bite when you bite into this and you taste it. So this sandwich is going to be kind of sweet from that coconut on that shrimp. So we want that tang and that zip, okay? So this is cooking down. I wish you could smell it. I love raspberries, guys. I don't know about you. I put raspberry jam on everything. I like to cook with it. I like to do a lot of vinaigrettes. Raspberry vinaigrettes are great. You could actually make a raspberry vinaigrette out of this. Okay, so we got our red wine vinegar in there. Now we're going to hit it with a little bit of honey, as if it wasn't sweet enough. We're going to hit it with some honey. Just a little bit of a drizzle there. And then we're going to season it with a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, and then we're going to want to give this thing a zest of lemon. And we're going to want to take this off the heat real quick because this is going to start burning. We're going to zest our lemon in here. And then we're going to give it a little bit of a spritz of lemon. Perfect. Set that aside. We're going to mix that around real quick without having this tabletop turn on me. That's really, really, really pretty, guys. Let's get a spoon here. Look at this. Look at this. That is gorgeous. That is really, really nice. Okay, so now the first part of this task is done. We got the gastrique made. Gastriques, just so you know, don't have chunks of garlic in them. This is simply going to be for the coleslaw. If you were to puree that and incorporate it your own way, you can do that. This is kind of a, like I said, a fusion. There's going to be some different stuff going on. Okay, so we're going to take our handy dandy coleslaw bowl. Take our coleslaw bowl and we're going to get this thing started. So get yourself some mayo. On the last episode, I showed you how to make an aioli. You can make your own aioli for this if you really, really want it to be fancy. There's no need for that here. So we're going to go ahead and do a base of mayo. And I can't open the damn mayo. That's how you do it. All right, so we're going to open the mayo. We're going to go in with about a quarter cup. A couple of glugs there. That's going to be about it. Right there, quarter cup of mayo. Now we're going to hit this with some Creole spicy mustard. You could really use Dijon, you can use yellow mustard, you can use some fancy mustard like this. It really doesn't matter. We're going to go about a teaspoon. I'm going to hit it with that, okay? Because we are fancy, we're going to hit it with a little bit of parsley, okay? A little bit more lemon juice, okay? And then we're going to go with some garlic. So you've seen my episodes of shows before, right? I love garlic. You can use fresh garlic, you can use chopped garlic, you can use dry garlic, whatever you want. We're going to go a couple of pinches here. Nothing crazy. A couple of pinches. And then the odd ingredient here, we got some turmeric. I like turmeric for this. It gives it kind of a, it just gives it kind of a pop, man. It really adds a lot. You don't want to do a lot of turmeric because it goes a long way. So we got that ready to roll now. So we're going to mix this all together. Right? It may not look like a lot, but we're not making a ton. The ingredients and directions that I give you guys, they're more or less for guidelines because you're not really cooking in small batches like I'm doing up here on the show. Cook with your heart, cook with your soul, cook with what feels good. I'm giving you the ingredients. You can use a little bit of something or a lot of something, right? This is just going to be a nice little way to start, and you can kind of feel it out from there. So now that we got this incorporated, we're gonna go ahead and grab our Rasberry Gastrique and we're gonna add this to the party, okay? We're gonna add that all in there. This is gonna give it a really nice, luscious red color, but I told you it's that creamy coleslaw, so we're gonna mix this all together really, really good. Really, really good. I could use a whisk, but I've already dirtied about every utensil in this house, and I don't want to make the cleaning crew revolt against me here, so we're just gonna use this spoon. It'll do the job just nicely. And now, we are gonna add in our coleslaw to this. So use kind of your best judgment here. Knowing how much sauce we have, we don't wanna over encumber this. We wanna get just the right amount, maybe just a little bit more. We'll give it a quick stir and see what we need to do to it. Okay. Starting to look nice. This is not gonna be your normal coleslaw, guys. So I made a sandwich with this the other day that was a fried pork schnitzel with this coleslaw on top and then a egg over easy over the top of it with a garlic aioli on a ciabatta. And when I mean to tell you it was the best sandwich I've ever made, this right here is gonna give it a run for its money. So this is a wonderful thing that you can use. If you don't like raspberries and you like blueberries, do the exact same recipe. Just substitute blueberry jam or blueberries. If you wanna make your own jam, just cook down your blueberries, cook down your raspberries, cook down your strawberries, high heat, lots of sugar, reduce, 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 puree, strain, boom, you got yourself a nice little jam. So now we got this all mixed and incorporated together. What we gotta do, we gotta taste it. If we just hope and pray that this is good, you don't know, right? So we're just gonna give this a little bit of a try, see what it needs. It might need salt, it might need pepper, you don't know. Damn. Am I good or am I good? That is really, really, really good. It's sweet, it's sour, it's got some tang, it's got that crunch, right amount of seasoning, right amount of salt. That turmeric, you can taste it in there just lingering in the background. That's really, really good, guys. So our coleslaw, made, check, done. That can sit aside and we can work on the shrimp now, the star of the show. So we're gonna set this aside. We're gonna come back to you later. Bang. All right, so now that we got our coleslaw done and set aside, now we're gonna work on the main star of the show. So we got some big Atlantic shrimp here. So these are really, really big, tails on, wonderful shrimp. So if you're trying to make a really yummy sandwich, you can go get the freezer stuff, you can get the stuff out of the bag, or you can go up to the counter and get a really, really good fresh shrimp. You can go over to Shucks, go to their absolutely fresh seafood. You can get some really, really good stuff. Okay, so what we're gonna do, luckily these are already cleaned. All we gotta do with these is peel them. So easy trick with these, just spread the back. I always pinch the tail and pull, and it comes off really, really simple, really easy. So we're gonna set aside probably, we want a decent sandwich, right? We wanna get a nice sandwich going. So let's do like 6 of these, okay? Some are gonna be harder to peel and clean than others, but for the most part, if you follow that trick, just pop that sides, pinch the tail and pull, and it usually comes right off. This one, as you can see, it's got that little digestive tract in there. Just take your thumb, take your finger, and just rub that out. If they hadn't cleaned it yet, just go ahead and help yourself out. You don't want to be eating it. It's not gonna hurt you. I bet you 1,000,000 to 1 you've eaten it in shrimp before. You didn't even know it was there, but once you learn it's the shrimp poo, you don't want to eat that. So peel that off, get that aside. We got 4. Let's go ahead and do a couple more. We might as well just cook the batch since we're here, right? So let's just peel these guys and get them ready to rock. All right, so, well, let's get this big tiger prawn. Let's get this big guy. Look at this guy, he's huge. He's huge. All right. That'll cover it. All right, so we got our shrimp. Those are set aside. If you want, you can spritz them with lemon. You can give them a nice little bath. But the best way, I've done a couple of different versions of panko shrimp, kind of trial and error at the house. And I found that doing a pre-dip of either cornstarch or flour helps that panko crust stick a lot more. If you just put it on, if you just go raw shrimp, your egg wash mixture, panko, when you go to fry it and you pick it up, it's all gonna slide off and you're gonna be really upset with yourself. So pro trick, get yourself some cornstarch. Take your cornstarch, take your shrimp, just give it a nice little toss, okay? Nice little toss, give that a little shake, you can set them down. Do the same thing with all these. We're just gonna give them a nice little toss and set them down. Okay, we're gonna work one right after another. You can do two probably at a time here. Just give them a little bath, set them down. We really don't need to season these yet. We're gonna work on that here in the egg wash slurry. So we get these guys all coated, they're ready to go. That's gonna stick to them like glue. And then when you go to apply this next step, it's gonna work really, really good for you. Okay, so now set this aside here just for a second. We got our egg wash, so we have our heavy cream. You can use heavy cream, you can use buttermilk, you can use regular milk. Regular milk is really thin. It has a tendency of just running off. My go-to, heavy cream. So we're gonna give this a little crack, full egg, all the way in. We're gonna knock that in there. We're gonna wipe off our hands real quick, and we're gonna whisk this together. We're gonna move in our egg, we're gonna move in our heavy cream. And here's where you can season this, okay? So we're gonna go ahead, hit this with some garlic powder. I wish I had my Slap Yo Mama up here, I don't, but if you had some Slap Yo Mama, that would be great. And then we're gonna go ahead and do some black pepper. And then we're gonna do lastly just a little bit of salt, okay? That's all we need there. We're gonna give that another little whisk. Get all that incorporated, get all that mixed together. And then now guys, here's the fun part. We know our oil's on, we know our oil's hot, so we're gonna start working on these shrimp. So they're gonna go get our dredge station ready to rock. We're gonna take our shrimp, we're gonna go into the wet, and then we're gonna go right into the dry. Just toss that in, give that a nice full coat, okay? And this guy should be ready to rock. So we're gonna go ahead and toss him in there, and we're gonna start working on the rest. Go into the wet, we're gonna go into the dry. So what this is a coconut and panko Japanese breadcrumb. I have never used it before, but it was kind of interesting, and it seemed like it was gonna be something new, you know? I don't like cooking with the same stuff. I obviously know what my favorites are, and I use them quite frequently, but every now and again, you gotta try a new product, and you gotta change it up. Shrimp cook incredibly fast, like incredibly fast. So we gotta watch our shrimp. We're probably only gonna be going for about 3 to 4 minutes on this oil, okay? So by the time I finish breading these, we're gonna be just about ready to go on the first shrimp that went in there. Okay, we're gonna stop with that right now. We got, well, let's go with one more. Let's go with one more. Okay, let those guys go. Clean up our station here a little bit. I am a bull in the kitchen. I make all sorts of mess. My fiance really loves me for it, but I make her some really good food, so it's a nice trade-off. So she can't be mad at me for too terribly long. So we're gonna check on this here and see what we got going on. Oh, these are starting to look nice, guys. Ooh, look at those. We want to let them go for a couple more minutes. I want to make sure, shrimp, like I said, shrimp do cook really, really fast, but we want to make sure that internal, they're pretty big shrimp, and they were partially frozen, so we want to give them a couple more seconds. They're going to be probably a little bit more golden brown than what I would usually do, but we're going to let those things start going. So we're going to get our plate ready here. And we want to finish with a nice toasted yummy bread. So let's take our butter. We can honestly might as well just use the rest of this butter. Let's just toss this guy in there. We'll get that guy going. Let that butter start working its way down. Check on our shrimp. Perfect. Our shrimp are great. So we're going to set those aside. I always like to put them on a paper towel so that way they can kind of degrease before you pop them into your face. So we're gonna set these out here. Look at this. Look at this. Those are pretty. You can smell that coconut. They smell really, really good. There is a restaurant in Papillion called Ollie and Hobbs, and they have a shrimp po' boy on their menu with a similar Rasberry Gastrique. So kind of makes me think about that. So we got our wonderful, beautiful shrimp. Those guys are ready to roll. So we can just spritz them just a little bit there. Our butter is working our way down. You know what, let's go ahead and hit this with the rest of our garlic. Let's hit this with a little bit more parsley because we fancy like that. And then we're gonna go ahead, cover our shrimp in some lemon, and then we're gonna get our bread ready to go, okay? So we got, for this, just a simple ciabatta. I got this at Costco. They have those big old packs of ciabatta bread that when you buy it, you have no idea what the hell you're gonna do with it because there's so much bread in it. Well, I had some leftover bread and I figured, why not? Let's use some, just make a really good shrimp po' boy ciabatta sandwich. So our butter and garlic and parsley is all cooking here. So this is a lot of butter, more than you would normally would need to do. But we're gonna make ourselves a really, really nice po' boy sandwich. So this is partially cut. I'm gonna teleport over here real quick, grab a bread knife, because I haven't dirtied every knife in the kitchen just yet. This is the last one. Let's make sure we get this casualty down. Let's finish cutting this bread without cutting our fingers. And then we're gonna get this thing toasted. Perfect. All right, face side down. Let's let it roll. Boom. All right. I always like to use my fingers on this. You can use spatulas, what have you. Give it a nice move around the pot. Just give it a nice chance to absorb all that garlic butter that we just put in there. This is gonna crisp up. It's gonna be really, really flavorful, really, really nice. Once that goes, let's turn that down. Once that goes for a couple of minutes, we're gonna check it. We're gonna flip it over. We're gonna make sure that it's cooked all the way through. We're gonna make sure that it's nice and toasty and caramelized. Then we're gonna flip it on its top. Let's give it a nice little flavor cap, so that way when you bite into this thing, you know that this sandwich is ready to go. So we're gonna do this. We are going to move our wonderful dredge station out of the way. Put it right up there. And then we're gonna move our plate for presentation over here. We're gonna slide off our pinko, wonderful pinko shrimp. Set that on the counter there for a second. Let's check our bread. Smoke usually doesn't mean anything good, but that looks perfect to me. Toss that over. Do the same thing on this side. Ooh, guys, I'm telling you what, this is gonna be so good. Like, this is really gonna be super, super good. So let's go ahead and pop this sucker out of here. Okay, we're gonna get that guy out of the skillet. We're gonna turn our heat down because we're starting to smoke. That's all that butter. Butter burns super quick, as you can see. We didn't have that thing in there for a second, but the butter is saying, time to go, buddy, time to go. So that's ready to rock. I showed you on last week's episode how to make a garlic aioli. If you had that garlic aioli, you could put that on there right now. What we kind of did was a little haphazard way of doing that, but that's an easy fix. So now let's dress this thing up, okay? Let's go ahead and put on our shrimp. These are big and beautiful. We don't want to be cheap on it. Let's get one more on the bottom over here. And then now we want to get our coleslaw, our star of the show. This thing's going to be nice and creamy and delicious. Put that on top. All right. Then if you have your lemon, give that just a little bit of a squirt. And that's it, guys. We got ourselves a beautiful, beautiful shrimp po' boy sandwich. Let's clean her up a little bit. Thanks for watching this episode of First Time Feast. I love spending this season with you, showing all those tips and tricks that we kind of cooked through together. For more of my amazing content, check me out on YouTube. As always, thanks for watching. Peace.